Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Fallen, and in this video I'll be talking about if you should buy one of these in 2021. Now, to give you a little bit of lore about my history with Nintendo. Growing up in Russia, I did not have a Nintendo 64. They were not available over there, but one of my friends did have a Game Boy Color. He let me borrow it a few times, and that's when my love for Nintendo was born, even though I was an avid PC gamer back in the day. And even to this day, I dabble in PC games every once in a while. Now, after moving to the United States, my first true system was Game Boy Advance, and I still remember it to this day. It was that white version of the system available. I remember there was a purple, a white, and maybe there was a couple other colors. But I remember having also dozens of accessories from it, from grips to controllers to that even night light that it would reflect from the glass screen, making it pretty much impossible to see at nighttime. But if you wanted to do a little bit of gaming while there was a limited light that was available. Now, I did skip the Game Boy SP, although it had a cool folding mechanism. I was enjoying my Game Boy Advance and all the gaming that was available on it, especially that you could play Game Boy Classic and Game Boy Color games on it as well. Now, the next system I did pick up was a Nintendo DS, and I remember it was crazy having two screens instead of one, and what was even more crazier is having online multiplayer. Now, coming from a PC gaming perspective, you kind of take that a little bit for granted. Even back in the day, a lot of online gaming was done. But being able to play from Mario Kart to Metroid and with people all over the world, and even Animal Crossing, I enjoyed it so much. Now, I did have a Nintendo Wii, and I remember my mom overpaid for it because she wanted to do a special Christmas for me. And because of scalpers, she paid close to double the price that it was going for. But I sincerely thank her for that. I remember from Medal of Honor to No More Heroes to everything else in between, I truly enjoyed that system. Even though a lot of my friends were playing either PlayStation or Xbox at that point in time. And I spent a good time playing Wii Sports as well in my bedrooms, either by myself or with my friends. Now, sadly, I'm one of those people that did purchase a Nintendo Wii U, but I was very excited about that system. I purchased it when I first started my first company in the liquidation space, and I wanted to buy something nice. And I ended up going out and buying it for my birthday. I think it dropped around my birthday, and I maybe bought 3 or 4 games for it. I remember I bought Mario and maybe that zombie game that was available for it. And that was about it. Now, it had a lot of cool design aspects I enjoyed. Being able to play on the little tablet or the TV and be able to switch back and forth, or be able to play games that are compatible with your friends. One friend plays on the tablet, one friend plays on the TV. Now, although the technology was cool, it was not implemented very well. The controller could not go very far away from the system, or it would lose connections and create a lot of issues. So Wii U, in my book, was a bust, as in many people who purchased that system. Now, don't be worried. This thing came along. Now, I was a little bit hesitant about buying the system. I remember how much fun I've had with Nintendo systems before. And at that point in time, I was very busy with my professional career, and I didn't want to think about if it's going to distract me from it. But I remember when they came out, it was impossible to find these. This was the biggest craze. And I called every single store in my area, and of course, nobody had it. And I wound up finding one in a Target or a Best Buy. And in my first attempt, I walked away from it. And I remember it was a very hard decision. I was like, I got to be a grown up. I don't have time for video games. Long story short, I wound up buying one a few weeks later, and it's been in my hands ever since. Now, this is one of the original systems, so it does allow you to do some additional things to it. Hint, poke. Now, have I done those things? Yes. But have I used them on a consistent basis? No. The reason for that is that I haven't found a need for it. If I wanted to use Android systems, I do have an Amazon Kindle. If I want to have a Linux system, I have my MacBook. I feel like this should be just a native Nintendo system. Now I'm sure there's other mods and whatnot I have not explored for it. Now, like I said, as I mentioned to you, I've owned this system from pretty much the very beginning, and I've experienced wide variety of library. Now, I want to go over if you should buy one of these in 2021 and some things that you should have for it. So let's start with that. So, power bank is a very important thing to have when you think about traveling with your Nintendo Switch. If you have one, or if you consider buying this. Now, this is an Anker power bank. I love their accessories, I love their power banks, I love their cables. Not a sponsored video, but great company, great products, and I've had this power bank for a few years now. Not a single issue. You can charge your phone over a dozen times. You charge your MacBook, it can charge your iPad, your Nintendo Switch, anything else but you. I wish I could just plug it into myself. The reason I say that you might want to have one of these is that if you do travel on long road trips or planes or anywhere that you might be away from power for an extended period of time, you do need a power source. I'm not sure if it's my system at this point in time or how they were designed originally, but depending on the color brightness, depending what you're playing, you might get between 2 and 4 hours of playtime. If it's a game that includes very intense graphics, if you're playing multiplayer game with full brightness, everything, taking lots of pictures, taking lots of screenshots, you might drain that battery a lot faster. Now, what's the second thing you should buy for it? Is a good pair of headphones or a headset. Now, I don't have one here because I think it's a personal preference. Now, I've connected my AirPods, I've connected the traditional wire 3.5 millimeter headphones. I've done over the ear headphones or in-ear headphones, whatever works for you. Especially if you're, once again, traveling, if you go around other people, you might want to plug yourself in. You might say, hey Fallen, how did you connect yourself with your Bluetooth AirPods? Well, this is where this little dongle comes into play. Now, it's a Bluetooth receiver that goes into the bottom of your Nintendo Switch. Now, the only thing I don't like about it, it blocks your power connection. So you cannot use the Bluetooth dongle and a power source at the same time. Now, I'm not sure why they're designed this way 100%, but it is what it is. That's what it comes down to. You might be using your wireless and Bluetooth headphones for a little bit and then plug in your 3.5 millimeter headphones after you need to charge your system. I always have a nice pair of headphones, 3.5 millimeter headphones in this case. Speaking of which, this is one of the original Nintendo authorized cases for it. I've had it for years. It's really beat up, but it's protected my system over the years. It allows you to store many games at the same time, but I'll get to it in a bit. I think the last thing that you need to have for it is a big storage card. Now, believe it or not, I have a 512 gigabyte memory card in it, and it's almost 95% filled up, and I'll explain why. I actually do consider buying a 1 terabyte micro SD card for it, and it kills me to do so because it's over $200, which is kind of ridiculous compared to 512, which can be purchased for less than $100 nowadays. Now, 512 back when I purchased it were not cheap, but I do have a lot of downloadable games, and let me explain why. I feel like Nintendo Switch is truly meant to be a portable system. Yes, if you have this case, you can store up to 8 games in it in the little slots. You can put a little bit more games into a little pouch, hoping they're not going to scratch against each other, plus another game in the system. Now, I've made this as 99% digital game system. I've used to have dozens and dozens of games for this, but as I travel more and I've taken the system overseas with me on every single trip. The system has been to Greece, it has been to Nepal, it has been to Barbados, it has been to a lot of countries, and it has never left my sight. Now, I'm sure at the same time you guys have heard about these guys causing an issue. Now, I actually recently had to buy a brand new pair of Joy-Cons, and I hate how expensive they are. If you buy both of them, I think they go for about $80. Now, what I usually do when one of my pair of Joy-Cons start acting up, or how they call it in the Nintendo Switch world, drifting, meaning that your joystick just continuously goes forward or in one of the side motions when you're not even touching it. Now, I've never taken it apart, but there's plenty of YouTube videos discussing what causes drifting issue. Drifting issues has been consistent since the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and it has been the biggest pain in Nintendo Switch owners, especially how expensive these Joy-Cons are. But if you do need to buy a brand new pair of Joy-Cons, you can sell your old ones as a used item. That's what I recently did with my latest pair. I think I sold it between $35 and $40. So making 2 brand new Joy-Cons be available to me for about 40 bucks, or about half the price of the retail. Of course, you can go and buy brand new or used working Joy-Cons, but I prefer to buy them brand new, especially due to drifting issue. Now, I do want to say that I feel like Nintendo has improved on how they manufacture Joy-Cons. They feel a lot more clicky, they feel a lot more springy, they feel not as cheap as they used to. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to experience the drifting issue with this pair of Joy-Cons. We'll see, and I might put out an update video, I might not. If you guys want me to make more videos on Nintendo Switch, let me know in the comment section, and I will definitely consider doing it. I'm surprised it took me that long to do it. Now, what about the game library? The game library is amazing, especially if you're considering buying a Nintendo Switch in 2021. From Legend of Zelda to Mario to Animal Crossing to Doom, so many games are available. Of course, popular games like Fortnite are free to download, and along with MMORPGs like DC Universe. Now, I remember playing DC Universe back in PlayStation 3 days at my first apartment, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's such a fun and underrated MMORPG, and I'm always glad to see it be brought onto the Nintendo Switch. So the library is super extensive. Now, if you're one of those people that enjoys classic Nintendo gaming, there's a huge library from NES to Super Nintendo games available. Some of them are allowing multiplayer or local co-op play. Now, there's also fun games like Tetris 99 also be available for you to try and play. Now, if you're not a big bowler and don't have hundreds and hundreds of dollars to spend on games, there is a good free game variety. From World of Tanks to Fortnite to Warzone are fully available, or Warframe are fully available. I always confuse the two. Now, there's also brand new type of gaming, which is considered to be cloud gaming. One of the most popular anticipated games of this year so far is Hitman 3. Now, I've been a fan of the Hitman franchise, especially the new versions of 1 and 2. Hitman 3 is a conclusion to the Hitman franchise, and it's actually available for cloud play on Nintendo Switch. Now, although I was hoping that it could be natively somehow ported to it, of course, thinking about it a little bit more, the Nintendo Switch does not have the capabilities to play it, especially if you want to maintain the graphics that IO Studios bring with the Hitman franchise. Now, cloud gaming is something that is very interesting because it allows you to play AAA games via cloud with no lag. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a 5G connection with about 400 to 500 down over Wi-Fi. Now, if you're a person that does not have the best connection, if you live in an area that the best connection is not available, maybe cloud gaming is not for you. But there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds games fully available on the game market that do not require you to do cloud gaming. Speaking of games, that's one of the downsides, is that they're still figuring out best ways to sort and filter the Nintendo Switch store. There's hundreds of weird knockoff mobile games that constantly flood the store, and that has been expressed by true Nintendo Switch fanatics in many videos. Like Woody, he makes amazing videos about it. He is a huge Nintendo gamer, he's a huge Nintendo Switch lover, but he's seen the issues that the Nintendo store faces. From weird puzzle games that look like they should be free games on your mobile device are flooding the Nintendo store. Now I get it why developers put these games out there, because they're hoping kids will buy a few of them and they're going to make a few dollars. And it's an easy port, especially with a lot of mechanics can be ported over from a mobile device. That is why systems like Android are fully functioning on the Nintendo Switch. That's what Nintendo Switch is. It's a reskin and remodified Android system. That's what it comes down to in its core. Now, what about the future of Nintendo Switch? And that's where the million-dollar question comes in. There has been more and more rumors about a powerful Nintendo Switch coming out this year. Think about it. In 2017, the original Nintendo Switch came out. We're in 2021. The cycle of 4 years have happened, and I think it's time for a brand new Switch to come around. Now, of course, there's the Nintendo Switch Lite, and I truly recommend you stay away from that system for a variety of reasons. There has been plenty of negative feedback associated with that system, between a smaller screen to even drifting issues being on Nintendo Switch Lite. And it's a lot harder to fix controllers on a system that does not allow you to remove them. When these controllers start acting up, I can remove them, take a new one, and pop it in. You cannot do that on a Nintendo Switch Lite. So if you do consider buying a Nintendo Switch, I recommend buying it for the original model. Now, I know that they have recently released an updated version of the original Nintendo Switch, if that makes sense. I heard it has a better LED display, has better backlighting, has a better battery. So I'm sure it will be a little bit better than my system, and which makes me a little bit jealous. Now, what about the games? There's plenty of games that are still in development, from No More Heroes 3 finally coming out, and of course you can play the classics of No More Heroes 1 and 2 currently available in the store. Now, sadly, I don't see No More Heroes 3 release date or even be in coming soon section anymore, how it used to be. But if you're a huge fan of games like Monster Hunter, they are coming out. Now, what kind of games do I want to see in the Nintendo Switch stores? I would love to see a true MMORPG. Now, I did talk to you about how DC Universe is available. There's Blades Online that has a multiplayer component of things, but I feel like Nintendo Switch could use a true MMORPG experience that is available on the go. One of the best ones I would love to see is RuneScape. I've been a lifelong RuneScape player, and I feel like RuneScape would be a great addition to Nintendo Switch series. Sadly, RuneScape and Jagex have not made any comments about planning on the release of RuneScape on Nintendo Switch. Although, it might be one of those situations that, haha, one day it's truly available, and I'm going to lose it if it truly becomes available. Now it has to be RuneScape 3, not RuneScape Classic. I know that a lot of people prefer RuneScape Classic over 3, but at this point in time, I would play any of them. Now, of course, there's plenty of other games for you to check out in Nintendo Switch library, from card games to Diablo 3 to Doom to Wolfenstein. Yes, a lot of people make memes about the Nintendo Switch, about graphics being low, about it being just a giant Fortnite machines and everything else between. I truly love the system. This has become my favorite system. I've owned Xbox One, I've owned PS4, I've owned the Nintendo Switch, and between those three, Nintendo Switch has been my favorite system. I just want to add that I literally never plugged into the dock. I actually sold my dock a long time ago, because from the moment I got it, it just felt like a handheld system. It felt like a system I don't want to stick somewhere and be away from it. I've done those things with Xbox 360 and Xbox One. I wanted something that is constantly portable. I do travel a lot between visiting my family and sometimes for work, and I want to do some gaming on the go. Back in the day, I used to love playing games on my iPad or my iPhone, but this has become my gaming system. So what do I think about the future of Nintendo Switch? I truly think that there's going to be tons of great content coming out between the cloud gaming and AAA titles that are in the work. I would love to see more developers embrace the Nintendo Switch, even though this generation has limited capabilities. Going back to the rumors, I feel like this is why it's a hard decision to make. the rumors are true and they're coming out with a Pro Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch XL, I think you might want to hold off. So if we don't hear anything in the next few months about Nintendo Switch, I feel like it'll be a safe bet for you to pick one of these, used or brand new, especially with them becoming more widely available. I love the system. I think I said that about a dozen times, and I never thought I'd be talking about it in our YouTube channel as I plug this backwards. But let me know if you have a Nintendo Switch. What are your favorite games? What are your least favorite games? What do you think about anything I talked about? The accessories, the drifting issue, the new system or the updated system that come out, the original Nintendo Switch versus Nintendo Switch Lite, or anything else in between. If you have any questions about the Nintendo Switch, please leave them in the comment section below. We're always reading and responding to as many comments as possible. If you want to see more videos from us, please consider clicking the subscribe button so you can be the first one to know when the video drops. If you guys enjoyed this video, click that thumbs up button. If you guys dislike that video, click that thumbs down, and please let us know why you disliked it. If you have any other video sections, you guys can leave them in the comment section, or you can reach out to me in the social, which will be in the description of this video. And as usual, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.